guys. Welcome back to another episode of Gossip Girlies. I'm Cassie.
And I'm Kristen.
And our guest today, our bestie, gossip girly for the restie, Miss Kortnie Holton.
Hi. Welcome. Welcome to the honorary, the third leg of this tripod, if you will.
Indeed. So, Kortnie's a little nervous, guys, but we're going to make her feel right at home because she talks to us all the time, so she'll be a natural. So, our girly here is getting married.
Yay!
Yes. So, Kortnie, what we want you to help us with for the Gossip Girly game is, there's probably girls that are about to get married, thinking they're probably going to get engaged soon. They're going to get engaged in the future. Where do you start with the wedding planning?
It's a good question.
Pour yourself a nice drink.
Buckle up.
Yeah, honestly, I think first thing is just get some kind of notebook or something to just put your thoughts in.
Mm-hmm.
My future in-laws got this little notebook that's like my wedding crap. And it's like to-do lists, thoughts, random BS. And she was like, just remember at the end of the day, it's all gonna start to feel like BS. Everything's gonna get
I gotta pick a fucking tablecloth.
Everything. So yeah, I think that's the big things. And then just I think another big thing out the gate is to figure out what are your must-haves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then what are things that would just be nice to have but aren't deal breakers.
So do you mean as far as venue, or do you mean do we want food trucks, or do we want just to have plated dinner? What specifically do you think?
Yeah, so venue's definitely number one. Until you have a venue, you don't really have a date.
Yeah,
right.
That's
true. You can say whatever date you want, but if your venue is not available, then sorry.
Right.
That's not the case. And venue is also important to do first because sometimes they have preferred vendors or recommended vendors. And if you're getting married at a place that only has certain caterers, what if that caterer that you had in your mind already isn't on their list?
Right. Yeah. And that's more important to you than being at this specific vineyard. So then it's kind of figuring that out from there.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of the other vendors, they need your date from the start. Mm-hmm. So again, if you have a venue, you don't have a date. Mm-hmm. It doesn't exist yet.
Yep. Well, see, I feel that's so important because I've never really thought about where to start if you get engaged, because I've obviously never been engaged, but it is one of those things where you're just so I feel overwhelmed probably that you're oh my God, what do I even start with? Mm-hmm. And I don't know that I would have put in my head 2 and 2 together and been oh duh, you have to look at the venue first so you can make sure that you even have a location,
what you want
for a date that you want.
Yeah, and then some things with venues is do you want a live band? Because if that's something that's really important to you, some venues don't allow live bands because of sound ordinances.
Yeah.
Ugh. So if that's truly a deal breaker, that's something for you to look at. Some venues don't allow liquor. So if you're really not a full open bar, especially depending on which county and state you're in, you gotta look at that with the venue too. So it's really deciding those deal breakers from the start, what you can budge on and what you feel you can't.
Yeah.
So when y'all went and looked at the venue, did you already want the date that you have? Was that what you had in mind and they happen to also be open?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so lucky. That's a dream come true.
Yeah, I bet if you waited a week, it would be snatched up.
I know.
Yeah, and things are so crazy now. But when we looked at ours, we really wanted October 5th. Because both of our favorite month is October. Mm-hmm. And then we started dating on the 5th. We got engaged on the 5th.
Oh,
so
that's cute. Yeah, that's really cute.
So then the 5th of October happened to be a Saturday. Oh. And it's all right,
perfect.
It's all falling into place. And then finding this venue that you really like and them happening to have that exact day open, that just feels a little fatey, serendipitous to me.
Yeah, and when we looked, no venues that I reached out to were already booked for our day. So I think we're early enough there. But I know when we toured what ended up being our venue, she's yeah, we just had someone booked for October 19th. So like it's definitely if you're getting married in peak season, so like June,
June,
September,
October.
October, like you gotta get on it.
Right, you gotta be in there.
I feel like people now just get married like all different times of years
Yeah.
too. And like I don't if someone asked me like what do you think is peak season, I honestly wouldn't know.
I feel like y'all are too far out. Like this looks like it's just me. We gotta fix this. Like, thank you. Yeah, come on in. Cause I don't like it. I'm like, it's just me here. I don't like this.
But yeah, I wouldn't know, or I don't know. I was just obviously, now a lot of people get married in like December and January, but like aside from that,
I will say like a lot of venues, when you look at their pricing, like it's obviously different for a weekend versus a weekday. 'Cause,
Right.
like who wants to get married on a Wednesday?
No.
yeah,
So it's a little cheaper.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do that. Like I know this 1% work, her niece is getting married on Tuesday.
Oh
She's
my
like,
gosh,
apparently
The morning.
they met on a Tuesday.
that's just their day.
So like some people do it, but it's definitely not the common. And then they have like peak season and off season pricing as
Mhm.
well.
Okay.
And they'll like list the months that they consider peak pricing, but it's usually at least June, July, September, October.
Mhm.
But like honestly, the difference in pricing from peak season and not peak season isn't that much.
Yeah.
Well, I even remember
Like-
looking at y'all's brochure and like a weekday versus the weekend, it was only like what, $2,000 difference? It
Exactly.
wasn't
And
huge.
that's most of the places with peak season and non-peak were like 1,500, 2,000. And
Yeah.
it's like if you have a dream date in mind, that's not enough to move the
No,
needle.
yeah.
Like, move your wedding by 6 months just so you can get a little bit.
Yeah,
cheaper.
exactly. Say
Like-
$1,500.
Yeah.
But something else that we were talking about yesterday that I feel like is really important because I probably wouldn't have thought about it too. Like, I feel like sometimes, as girlies, we're like thinking like, oh, I want to get married at this place. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, I'm so in love with this place. Like, I already know, like, I want to do it there. But one of the ones that you really liked, Bluemont,
Yeah.
you went and you were like, oh no.
Yeah, this isn't the place for me.
Yeah. So definitely good to know that even if you got your dream place, ladies, you should still check it out.
Yeah, check it
Yeah.
out and like be open to other places, tour multiple venues.
Mhm.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I feel like you have to be prepared to be devastated. Also, if you have your dream venue and they don't have the date that you want, and you gotta
Yeah.
improvise and like find something that you're okay with.
Well, because I feel like even just thinking about Bluemont specifically, like we had never been where their like weddings were. Like
Mhm.
we had always been in like the wine tasting room, which is
Uh-huh.
gorgeous with gorgeous views. But it's like then you go and see where they actually would have it, and you're like, this is not what I was expecting. Like this is not what I had envisioned. So I thought that was important because I don't know if I would have thought of that. Like if I had somewhere that I was like set on, I feel like I would be like, okay, what date you got? Okay, booked. I won't even think twice about actually going to see it beforehand.
Yeah.
Right.
So, what is the most exciting part about planning a wedding? Like, what is like the fun part? Because I know it's got to be stressful, but there's got to be something that makes it at least fun, right?
Yeah. I don't know if I've gotten to like the most exciting part yet or the most fun part.
Mhm.
Like I think part of it is like still keeping it fun.
Yeah.
And like it sounds cheesy, but like ultimately like the point is for you to marry this other person in front of your
Mhm.
friends and family and have them there for this big celebration. So
Mhm.
like I think just keeping that in mind and like finding ways to celebrate the milestones along the way and not
Mhm.
just being like, oh my God, I still have 30,000 things.
Yeah, exactly. Like thinking about like, okay, I got
Yeah.
one of
Yeah.
25 things off the list.
Like I'm 0.02% done now. Like,
Yes. Ugh.
I think that's part of it. And it really is like, I think it is choosing the times for fun moments of creativity. Like something that I looked at, like you guys know I love popcorn. You guys know I'm
Mhm.
queen. And so I was looking at like, oh, late night snack option. You can do a little popcorn display. And, like,
Yeah.
different types and little
Yeah,
stations.
that would be cute.
Yeah, so like little things like that, I think are just like bringing the fun into it.
Right, and something to look forward to too.
Yeah. Versus like, I don't know if there's like one aspect of planning this the most fun or the most
Yeah.
exciting.
Well, going into it, did you have anything that was like a non-negotiable with planning where it's like, I'm not budging on this thing?
I think one non-negotiable for us were like we want an open bar and we
Mhm.
did want
Okay.
liquor. So there were some places I looked at where they didn't allow it, and one place even like they were like multiple paragraphs about why they don't allow it and how they don't
Wow.
want your like people to get out of control. They want everyone to have a good time. I was just like, this isn't the place. for
No,
this.
this ain't it. So. And look, if you can't afford an open bar for your wedding, you should not be getting married. That's how I feel.
As long as you want an open bar, like
No, I think it should just, it's a given.
Yeah.
It's a given.
yeah, but that was something that was non-negotiable for us.
Yeah.
Like we're definitely gonna have that.
Yeah.
I haven't booked a videographer yet, but I think that's something that I would consider. Like, I'm okay taking away from other areas in the budget for him to make that happen.
Mhm.
Okay.
Because that's like one thing that everybody that I've talked to that's gotten married recently is like, I don't remember the day.
Yeah, because it's
Like,
such
it
a
was,
moment. Yeah.
yeah, and they're either so glad that they had a videographer, or they're like, I wish I had done that.
Right. So would you do a videographer and a photographer? Or
Oh,
do you
yeah,
think you just, okay, that's what I think too.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. I've always thought that too.
Have you picked a photographer yet?
Not yet.
Okay. That's
That's
a
what-
big one.
I know that's
Mhm.
one of the big ones
That's a
I
big
need to
one.
get on for
Well,
sure.
I feel like it's gonna be hard too, because like y'all haven't been in this area for super long. So it's like gonna be a lot of like research almost, I feel like.
Are
Yeah.
you talking about like to find a photographer?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I will say like another reason where I was like, yep, I picked the right venue, like this is the place for me,
Mhm.
is they sent this awesome document of all the vendors they've worked with in the past and ones that they work really well and they recommend.
Mm.
And they were like, if you're curious about a person who's not on the list, call us and we'll let you know. Like
Yeah.
honestly, if we've worked with them and it's like,
Wow.
they didn't go so well, or like,
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
we really love
nice.
them.
Mhm.
Like,
Because I mean, these
Yeah.
are like big decisions that will like make or break your day.
Yeah.
like no one has bad pictures.
No.
Exactly.
Like,
I know
that's
that's
what it is.
huge.
And I feel like people don't really realize, and maybe this is something that like only women really pay attention to, but like I feel like there are actually legit different styles of like wedding photography.
And that's
Yeah.
like another thing that I didn't realize before getting into it is like really knowing the kind of vibe you're going
Yeah.
for and what you want out of the day, because like that's one of the first things that anyone asks you. They're like,
Mhm.
what do you want out of your wedding day? What is your big thing you want your guests to take home?
Mhm.
Yeah.
What kind of feeling do you want to have?
Mhm.
And yeah, like photographers, like their photography style changes a lot. And it's like, do you want like really old-timey romantic photos? Do you want to do like a high-res real life looking photos? Do you want like more of the like grainy artistic look?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there's so many different options. It's not just, can this person handle a camera well?
Right.
Because
Like
like
the
most
photos look decent.
exactly, because most of the people at that level can. It's just like
Yeah.
making sure that you guys have the same vision.
Yeah. Because I remember, I feel like I've seen so many people get married in the past like 6 months. And I've seen everything from like people who have like what I would consider like a cookie cutter, like,
Mhm.
you know, wedding by the lake. And, but you know, there's like cookie cutter, like by a lake country club. And, you know, it's just like kind of like high resolution, people standing together, posing.
Mhm.
And then there's like this one girl, they went to like a winery and there was like a hike that you could take to get a little bit higher up on the mountain. And then she took the pictures of the bride and the groom up there.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
like they were like in the trees. Like it was crazy. And it was kind of
Wow.
like boho, edgy kind of
Mhm.
vibes.
Right.
So it's just like so different. And like I think you don't really realize that that's like a thing that you have to think about.
Yeah. It's more than
Wow.
just like portraits of everybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know. I like get so annoyed when like some people will post it and I'm like, okay, there's you and your mom, there's you and your dad, there's you and your mom and your dad. It's like, okay, let's spice it up a little bit.
Or just like-
there's something interesting here.
Just like more organic moments.
yeah.
I
agree.
think.
So what do you think is going to be the hardest part of planning the wedding?
I think hardest part overall is just like everything is so expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, everything costs so much. And
Yeah.
like it's like there is gonna be a point where it's like I would really love to have this, but like it's out budget, it's not gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I think that's really hard. And then just like how crazy fast things get booked.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We got the venue, so that was the one big thing to lock down, but there's so many other things that you have to do on a certain timeline, and just especially with delays right now, like
Supply chain things.
I know, like my sister's wedding dress was supposed to be here in April, I think. She's getting married in September, and they just told her it'll be here end of June.
Oh my god.
And then she has to get it
Altered, right.
yeah, which usually takes at least 4 months. like-
Yeah, especially if it's like a lot of alterations need to
Yeah.
happen.
So even if like you think you're putting in your time, it's fine, we can wait.
I'll wait. Like I'm a teacher.
I'll
I'll
wait.
wait.
And I feel like I'm such a procrastinator too. Like I legit would wait until like 6 months before to like get a cake or something like that.
I
And I'm
know.
gonna have to end up getting like a Publix cheat cake.
What's that
You
Sam's
know?
Club cake like?
Exactly.
Show up with like a Dairy Queen ice cream cake, and I'm like, everyone enjoy.
You know, for real. I don't have great attention to detail, so
I feel like detailed, like thinking of all the things, and that doesn't really, that's not something I worry about. But sometimes if I like look at a list
Mhm.
and it's a lot and I'm overwhelmed, even if like each task is gonna take me 5 seconds, like it's gonna be so quick,
yeah.
I'm gonna get overwhelmed and I'm gonna be like, I'll do that later.
Yeah, I can't do all of this, and therefore I'm doing none of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Like sometimes I'll write on my to-do list at work, and like there will be like 16 things that would take me 2 seconds to do, and there's like one that might take me a couple hours, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that one. Yep, I'm gonna do that
So
one.
the hardest one.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this will take a lot of time. I should do this first.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Yeah, sometimes you gotta do those easy wins.
exactly. Just get it out of the way, because it's just stuff that's like monotonous, like like adding candidates to the applicant tracking system, or like
Yeah.
sending a email. Like it's just like, ugh, I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to.
I
hate
know.
it so much though. Put on your to-do list. Send an email about this.
Yeah.
Follow up with this person about this.
Yes.
And it's like you will wait 7 hours into your workday.
Yeah. Like the end of the
I know.
day, and you've done like 17-hour project, and you're like, well, I guess I should do those things now.
I read somewhere that if you think of something, it would take you less than 5 minutes to do, then you should just do it
Yeah.
at that moment that you think of it.
Heard that, and I think I tried a variation for a while where it's 2 minutes instead of 5.
Okay.
And
That's
so
probably
it's-
that's probably more fair.
Yeah, like I feel like 5 minutes is a little long. But
Yeah.
it's just like if I'm looking at the bed, I'm like, oh, I really need to make that. It's like,
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
less than 2 minutes. I should do.
I know, but I do. Oh my God, I procrastinate that every day too. Like I'm just like, I'll be going to the bathroom and I'm like, oh, but like I need to, send that email to Chelsea, and I gotta comb my toenail because I just broke it, and
Yeah.
oh, these things are so much more important than taking 2 seconds to make the bed. It's gonna take too much time. I can't do it.
Right. And then you make the bed at 6 o'clock, and then it's like, I'm about to get back in it.
Yeah,
in 2
exactly.
hours. So
No, I literally like I can't tell you how many times I've like I don't fully make it if I know we're about to get into it soon, but there's just like a whole different feeling about getting into a made bed versus
Yes.
an unmade bed.
Yeah.
So I like do everything but put like decorative pillows on.
Yeah, and what I've always been not sure about making my bed, but what turned me around is we bought a nice bedding
Mhm,
set with
yeah.
like pillows and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like we spent too much money on this to have it
Just
like
balled up
thrown around.
everywhere.
on the floor.
Yeah. And I mean, even just like walking by your bedroom or like going in there to grab socks or something, like you just feel better. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look at my cute little bed. It looks so cute
Right.
and
Trying
cozy.
to put together.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, you feel like you did something with your life that day.
That's what I do. Like if I'm cleaning the house, that is the first thing I'll do is make the bed because it's so short, but I feel like it does go such a long way.
Yeah.
So we
Speaking of
have
weddings.
yes, speaking of weddings, we have 2 people who had a pointless wedding because they are now getting divorced. And this is a couple I don't know a lot about them. We have definitely talked about them
Mhm.
on this show. And that is Kim Zolciak and her man's Croy, which just based on what you've told me before, I was kind of surprised that they are getting divorced.
Oh, I was shook to my absolute core. So I knew that they had money issues. I can't remember. I think they owe the government a lot of money. I think it was like
Yes.
tax stuff too.
Yes, they're in big trouble with taxes.
Yeah, like their house was foreclosed on, all this stuff. So I personally, there hasn't been really anything, at least that I've seen. So Gossip Girlies, please let me know if this is not true. I haven't seen a real genuine reason from either of them or someone on their team, their camp, whatever, about why they got the divorce. But I have a feeling it has to do with money.
How long were they married?
Oh my gosh, like 10, 11 years?
Yeah, they're children together.
Yeah, so Kim Zolciak, if y'all don't know, she's from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. She was like an OG. And when she was on there, she was originally with old Big Papa, who was a married man, but he just basically paid for all of her stuff.
Yeah.
And so she had two daughters, Brielle and Ariana. And I don't know who their daddy was. He was never mentioned. He was never there. He was never discussed.
Cool.
And so, gosh, maybe 4 or 5 seasons in, Kim went to this like local Atlanta Dancing for the Stars kind of thing because Sheree, who was also on the show, was in it. And so Bierman played for the Falcons, is who's in Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And so he was there and he was dancing or whatever. And so he literally went up to her. They met like at that dancing thing and they basically hit it off and were together ever since.
And is she still with the married man that was still?
I mean, she might have called it off with Big Papa once, you know.
Yeah.
And it did come out later. I don't remember who he was. Like, I can't remember his name, but it did eventually come out who he was, who his wife was, who his kids were, what he did, all that stuff. But so her and Croy, I think they've been married at least 10 or 11 years. I can't remember I know one of the kids' names is Kash, but I can't remember what the other ones are. So I know they had a set of
Irony.
twins, and then I think they had 2 more kids too.
Jeez.
I
Okay,
think
look
that's
it up.
correct.
But correct me if I'm wrong, but also weren't they like very religious? Or, like Croy was really religious.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Kim was one of those like, she probably was religious, but I mean, there was nothing Christian about this woman.
Right.
Not even just like the silly things she did. Like she was known for always having a solo cup full of wine everywhere she went.
Smoked so many cigs.
Chain smoker in the house, in the car. She didn't care. She was doing it.
Yeah.
And she was just always known for being like crazy. So she apparently used to be a nurse, which I can not imagine Miss Kim Zolciak-Bierman being my fucking RN or CNA or whatever the hell she was. But so I do believe it has to do with money. I have a feeling like Croy probably feels like she ran through all his money and maybe even got him into things that he didn't know was happening or something along those lines, because I have to believe that he is the breadwinner. They did have Tardy for the Party.
Yes.
On Bravo for a long time. So Kim at some point decided that she was going to be a singer. She is terrible and cannot sing to save her life. But she had Don't Be Tardy for the Party. Oh, whoa. And then the ring didn't mean a thing. So she had 2
song.
No, that
it was about Big Papa. It was
Oh.
about Big Papa. The ring he gave her did not mean a thing.
Mm.
But I mean, she would be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it's just like,
yes.
and she performed it live, and oh, it was terrible. But anyway, so obviously they really just became hits like from the show, and people thought it was funny and people listened to it. So after she left Real Housewives of Atlanta, they gave her her own show called Don't Be Tardy for the Party, and I'm pretty sure it went, God, like
this is
minimum 6 or 7
this
seasons.
is 8 seasons.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they did that for 8 years. But that was the only thing she did. Like, I mean, I'm sure she has like, you know, like She probably does influencer stuff and
Or
has
has like a boutique or
sponsorships.
something.
Yeah, she does have a wig line, I think, because she was also well known for always wearing a wig.
Did she have to?
No.
That was just like her deal. Yeah. She
Yeah.
would just wear a wig.
And they literally
So
looked like
uncomfortable if you don't have to wear them.
exactly. And they like from because we have since allegedly seen her real hair. You know, that's what they're
Yeah.
saying. I don't know. Because wigs have just gotten better. So I'm like, you know, maybe I just can't tell anymore. But her hair literally looks like how the wigs looked. So if it's her real hair, it literally looked like the wigs that she was wearing.
Oh gosh.
Like just blonde hair. And her kids, her two oldest daughters grew up on the show basically, and now they just all look like Kardashian figurines, like way
Like
too
plastic
much
surgery.
Oh yeah, way too much lip filler, way too much
Wow.
Botox. Probably had all kinds of stuff that I don't even know about. Definitely nose jobs because those noses are like the size of a finger. They're so skinny.
Yeah.
But I mean, they always seemed so in love though. Like if there was one thing that you could say, like those two loved each other, like they respected
Kim and
each other.
Troy.
Yes, he was always there defending Kim, even when like you're sitting there like, how can anyone defend this woman currently? Like they just seemed like such a really good couple. And you know, it's like hard to say that about someone who's like psycho. And Troy just seemed so sweet. He was kind of quiet, more reserved. He would do anything for those girls and his wife and his sons. And I really was shook.
The ring didn't mean
Is that Ariana?
This is Brielle.
Oh, okay. Oh my
This
gosh.
is Brielle.
Definite boob job.
Which they are now last name Bierman.
Of
too.
course.
Ariana and Brielle like took his
She
last
looks
name.
like Larsa Pippen.
Yes, she does. Yeah. But so the other kids are named, so they have a Croy Jr., KJ,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Kash, Cade.
Oh, the side note on that name. Oof. Okay, so when Kim started doing her music thing, that's when Candy first came on to Atlanta, and Candy is like she was in Escape. That it was a little bit before our time, so I had never heard of them either. But she's like wrote and produced like "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls," "Bills, Bills, Bills." Like,
Yeah.
What's that other Destiny Child song that was really popular?
No Scrubs.
Yes, No Scrubs.
That's TLC.
Oh, is it? My
Oh,
bad.
whoops.
Sorry.
But she wrote and produced
like famous songs. Like she has a million Grammys, Emmys, all that kind of jazz because she's done TV and movies since and whatever. Anyway, and so she was on the show and she became friends with Kim and she was helping her like get better deals and helping her to book shows and all of this stuff for free. Like she was not asking for any money from Kim. She just wanted like her cut of like whatever the song makes.
And she heard her singing and
oh yeah,
was on board.
girl, auto-tune is a miracle. Okay. And also, if there is one thing Candy, she will do anything to get that bag. And she knew, she was like, it doesn't matter if this bitch can sing. The Housewives franchise adorers are gonna be there. Like she's gonna sell tickets, she's gonna sell songs. So her and Candy became really close. She ended up never paying Candy any money at all. No royalties, nothing. And also Candy was trying to have or was thinking about having another kid eventually, and she told her that she wanted to name her son Kash. And here we have Kash Bierman.
Kash.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that went over well.
Yes. Continue. I'm sorry.
And then the twins are Kaya and Kane.
Yeah, they really
Cain, like Cain and Abel.
Yeah, Kane.
Does she know how that story goes?
Probably not.
I was thinking Raising Cane's.
Oh yeah, but that's a C.
Yeah,
but that is that.
Oh, is it?
C-A-I.
But I mean, still on the phone, like you said, my name is Kane. Like, isn't that like associated with like hell? Kane.
Yeah, because Cain was like he was not a good person, right? It was bad.
Yeah.
He was like evil.
Yeah, he was bad.
Okay, that's what I thought.
That's like
I'm like over here like questioning everything.
And I think that's why like raising Cain is like that's another way of saying like raising hell.
Mm.
Right? Like being bad. like causing
Gotcha.
trouble, I think.
We learn something every day.
So I just based on what you told me alone, it kind of seemed like Miss Zolciak had her life figured out with Croy, but it does appear that he filed divorce from her.
I think they both filed like almost at the exact same time.
Oh, jeez.
And the worst part is they still live together
Oh, that's
in the
terrible.
same house.
They live together right now?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
They're in the same
Well,
house.
Their house is foreclosed, so I guess they
Ye-
can't. flip it
Exactly.
over.
And I think he's fighting to keep the house from what
From the
I
government?
read. No, from Kim. So the house that they're in now, I think is fine. I think it's their like big mansion that they used to live in that they had to foreclose over to the government.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, they owe $1.15 million in unpaid taxes.
Mm.
So they're gonna have to get that figured out. Regardless of the moral of the story.
Like, especially when you're famous, I don't know why you think you're gonna be able to avoid it. Like, you're the first people that they're gonna be going for because it's
Right.
like, you think I'm not gonna come like Susan Bobkins down the road owes the IRS $100. Like, they're not going after Susan Bobkins, they're going after Kim Zolciak, who owes $1.5 million.
Right, exactly. Sorry, this is just a quick aside. How is the woman doing who's in jail from Salt Lake City?
Honestly, I haven't heard anything about Jen Shaw.
Jen Shaw, yes.
I haven't heard anything. I was thinking about it because I was listening to old episodes on my way here, and I remember us talking about it, and I was just like, I don't think I've heard anything about Jen since she's actually, I mean, I don't even know if she's been put in jail yet, actually. Like, I don't know.
Really? Oh,
I
think
mean,
she
like,
was.
once you're sentenced, like, how, like, do you immediately go to jail? Do you have time to, like, go
I think
wrap things up,
It
or?
depends on if you're like released on bail or not.
yeah, but I mean, like, if you get convicted and it's like looking like you're gonna serve jail time, then they would like immediately put you in jail, and then you come back for the sentencing,
Mm-hmm.
and then they tell you, however long you're in jail for. Which I mean, she's in there for like several years.
Yeah, I think it was like 6.5.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah, I don't think they're sending her home for
Yeah, it's like,
last hoorah.
yeah, it's like fraud. So
Yeah.
in New York City.
so I guess she's just laying low, doing her thing.
Yeah, I guess she's just in jail, living her best life. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to look into that. But speaking of Salt Lake City and me listening to old episodes, I was talking with Chris about this yesterday. Even since we talked about Miss Heather Gay on the podcast when she came out with her book and all of that, I hate her even more now. So what we were really talking about on there was it was around the time that she got this black eye on a trip they went on, and she just kept playing like somebody punched her in the fucking eye.
Oh God.
And everybody was like who punched you in the eye? And she's like, well, I'm gonna let them speak for themselves. And like, she just kept playing it. Like, I'm like, if someone in this group fucking beat the shit out of you, we need to know.
Yes.
We need to know. Especially because everybody was over here thinking it was Jen Shaw. They're like, yeah, she's about to go to fucking jail. Of course she punched you in the eye. But I mean, also too, since then I had heard a couple more theories. Like, I think Tamra Judge from Real Housewives OC, she had mentioned like it was like disgusting. Like, it was like black, blue, purple, like it was like her eye was barely open, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And she mentioned something that I didn't think about at the time, but for it to look like that, I feel like it couldn't have happened at like 5 a.m. and then she woke up at like 12 with it looking like that.
Yeah.
100% now.
Right. So it's like,
yeah, it takes a couple days.
yeah, exactly. So, but you couldn't, there was nothing visible before. Like, you couldn't see anything until it was just like disgusting black and blue.
Wow.
So there have been some speculations that maybe she owns a business called Beauty Lab, which is like cosmetic surgery, injections, whatever. So Tamara was suggesting that maybe she had a procedure done right before she left.
Okay.
And it resulted in the black eye, and she just didn't want to admit that her company did that to her.
Yeah.
But okay, so I already didn't like her because of that. Because I'm like, if someone punched you in the fucking eye, just tell us. And if someone didn't punch you in the eye, just tell us. Like, you're being ridiculous.
Right.
So she was on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, the most recent one in Thailand. So this bitch shows up, and Leah from New York is on there, which I'm sorry, but I don't like Leah. I don't like her. She's annoying to me. I'm so sorry because I know people are real stands for her because she's like very progressive, which is fine. And that's not why I find her annoying. I find her annoying because she complains about every goddamn thing that happens. She's like, oh my God, it's so hot. It's like, yeah, you're in fucking Thailand. Like, of course it's hot.
Yeah.
Anywho.
You're in the jungle.
Yeah, exactly. Anywho. So Leah is sober. And the first thing that Heather says to her when she comes in is like, oh my gosh, like I know, like that's gonna be so hard being on this trip with all these ladies. Like I'm proud of you. I'm here to help you however I can, blah, blah, blah. And so then they go to get ready for their first dinner, and some of the girls are back and they're like, oh, like let's start drinking. And the first thing that Heather says is, let's pour Leah a shot and make her take it.
Yeah, that's unhinged behavior.
You know what you don't say to someone who's sober?
After you literally, and like, you know what, like I could even understand if like that initial conversation hadn't happened, like maybe she didn't know Leah was sober, you know what I mean? Like before that you could be like, I don't know anything about Leah, I've never watched her show, like I didn't know she was sober, I'm so sorry. But you literally came in the first 5 minutes and were like, I know you're sober.
Right.
And then the whole time she was just like, she would just be kissing everybody's ass, like while they were all together, just like so nice, so kind, like, oh, I love your outfit. Oh my gosh, you're so right, blah, blah. Then she'd get in the van and she'd be like, oh my God, I wanted to punch Giselle in the face. I almost slapped her across the table. And everybody in the car is like, what?
What are you talking
You were literally just like making besties with her. Like, I'm so confused. So I just think she's wishy-washy. I think she's scared of everything. She says one thing and then says another, and I just can't stand her. And I just had that was weighing on my mind after listening to all episodes. Also, we are so fucking funny. If you're not listening to us, I really don't know why. Because I was actually cracking up at us.
I know.
And I was there the first time. So
even funnier the second.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess we'll just move on from one Bravo franchise to another. There is the whole Scandival situation is very fluid.
Yes.
It is ever evolving. Cassie, can you tell us where we are at right now on May 21st? Like what is going on?
Okay, so by the time this episode comes out on Wednesday, we will all anxiously be sitting on pins and needles with our popcorn, bottle of wine, not a glass, and we will be waiting for that reunion to come on at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever fucking time it comes on. So we had the finale last week. So if y'all don't know about it, I really I'm not even going to catch you up because if you don't know,
where have you been?
Where are you?
This was like,
I think a guy cheated on someone.
Yeah. That's enough. You got enough. But I mean, y'all, this was like national fucking news.
Like Vanderpump, right?
Yes. See, Kortnie, you know. I mean, like the New Yorker, the New York Times, the Huffington, like everybody was talking about it. Like it was extreme.
I think I saw this other video where the guy was like, when's the last time you did anything for me? Like, when's the last time you bought paper towels or toilet paper? And there's this video of this girl like stalking her house with toilet paper. She's like, I make sure my man's not.
Yeah, paper towels is definitely a thing. I do.
Yes, he said something about that in the.
That's what I've got on the situation.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, yes, you have the context. So basically, and the book, the cocktail book that I got you, Tom and Ariana, that's who it is from Vanderpump. So him and Ariana were together for 9 years, and he cheated on her with her best friend, who we now refer to as Rachel.
Now referred to as Rachel?
Listen to this, Kortnie. Let me fill you in. Her name is Rachel. Like that is her God-given birth certificate, social security card name.
Yes.
She decided to change it to Raquel to be more interesting on the show.
Like did she spell it the same and just pronounced it wrong?
No, she added a Q instead of the CH. So it's like instead of RACHEL, it's RAQUEL.
That's such a terrible name.
Yeah, I feel like if I were doing a fake name,
it'd be not that.
Yeah. I wouldn't go for anything with a Q, really.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've said this before, and I stick true to my sentiments. I never liked her. So she originally got on the show because she started dating James Kennedy, who was a close family friend of Lisa Vanderpump, and started dating one of the OGs, and that's how he really got his start on the show. he's a DJ now. He does like this huge, like it's like a whole event at Sir that he does. It's called See You Next Tuesday. He does all the DJing, all that stuff. So they were together for like 5 or 6 years, I think, and they were engaged. And I hated, oh my God, I hated her. She was dumb. She just, oh my gosh, she was annoying. She threw a baby shower for her fucking dog and had
Oh my
everyone come
God.
over. Like,
I hate that.
she's
Like-
awful.
Question for the baby shower. Was
Mhm.
she adopting a dog or was her dog having babies?
She had already adopted the dog. Like, the dog was already in her home.
Oh, so it's a baby shower for the human.
But no, I think
No,
it was a
for the dog.
Like it was like her baby.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, they were showering the baby who was the dog.
The dog.
I
Yes.
got you.
Graham.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, and people were like, baby showers are usually before the baby's born.
Right.
And also, it's like for a human.
Yeah, it's like not for your
adopting a
dog.
dog.
Yeah, she's so dumb. Anyway, she also was like a beauty queen, if you can say that. I don't think she ever won anything. And apparently her
She's a beauty
talent,
contestant.
thank you. Yes, a beauty contestant. And her talent was pretending to surf on a surfboard. Anyway, so in this finale is when we find out everything has happened. So Kortnie, to really show you the struggle that Vanderpump fans have been going through, the scandal came out in March.
Okay.
The show was filming, but it hadn't started airing yet, or like it had aired like 1 or 2 episodes. So we're like finding out all this stuff, but we're watching the show and it hasn't happened yet.
Oh, so you're like looking for signals. of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And so this finale is when finally they recorded everything that when it happened. And so Ariana finds out because she's at Tom Tom, which is her boyfriend's restaurant or bar or whatever. And he drops his phone and someone hands it to her. And she said, I just had a women's intuition told me to look through it. And she found a FaceTime video recording of the two of them masturbating together.
Of all the gross.
I
ones.
know. And I'm like, y'all have been texting and talking and all this shit all along. And this is the one you forget to delete.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's more offensive than a video of them having sex.
Yes.
Yeah.
The fact that they want to masturbate to each other and
Yes.
record it.
Yes. And so since this whole thing went down, Raquel's team obviously was like, I didn't consent to this being recorded, so like that's an issue and blah blah blah. And Tom goes on this fake ass apology tour that you see on TV, like with Sheena, and he goes over to, oh my gosh, this was the most disgusting thing I ever saw in my life. So he went to Tom Schwartz's house and he basically was saying like, I'd been wanting to break up with her for a while and I tried and she said no. And Tom was like, no, like the other Tom Schwartz was like, no, that's like not okay. Like,
Yeah, that's not how you get out of
yeah,
it.
it's
Right.
like, even if she said no, like, that doesn't justify what you did.
Yeah.
And he was like, when I tried to tell her, it was like she didn't want to know. And I was like, what woman wants to know that you've been fucking her best friend for 7 months?
Yes.
Like, what? What is this?
Who was going to be accepting of that information?
Yeah, and he said basically he was like, well, I told her I was going to your house. She could have followed me.
What?
He was like, she didn't even try and figure it out.
Oh my God.
I'm like, is this real life right now?
She didn't even try.
And how long have the two been friends?
For years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they've been friends for years. And so the affair did go on for 7 months total before Ariana found out. And so then on the finale, we also see them actually together for the first time, Tom and Raquel. And he like comes over and, is like, oh, how are you doing? And they like are hugging and they say, I love you to each other. And they're like putting their faces together. And I'm just like mortified watching it. And there was even a part, not on the finale, but the episode before, where like Raquel and Ariana are getting a drink, and Raquel's like, so like, what's going on with you and Tom? Like, what's wrong? And like Ariana starts talking about it, and she's like, well, are you even like still attracted to him? And she was like, oh my God, yeah, I think he's like the hottest person ever. And she's like, why don't you have sex with him? I'm like, it's just like, how dare you ask her these questions knowing that you're fucking her man?
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's so anyway, in the reunion, we are going to see Raquel, but basically, no one had heard, seen, or spoken to her since the finale up into the reunion. And she's been in like a rehab, I guess. I don't know exactly what they could say she like went to the rehab for. But that's where she's been even since the reunion. And
Wow.
so now there are new rumors that Raquel, well, first of all, I would say before this rumor, there was a rumor a few days ago that Tom and Raquel had actually broken up.
Yes.
And then came the bomb of a lifetime that Raquel is actually pregnant. And that is why she has been missing in action.
Oh my
So
gosh.
she's really been in rehab.
Exactly. Or if she has, she's been doing it so that she can conceal her pregnancy.
Yeah.
I don't know. At this point, I mean, they've even tried to say like she hooked up with Sheena's husband. And it's just like, I mean, at this point, it's like, you know, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. People are trying to stretch it out. People are trying to get all they can out of it. But at the same time, there's a party that's like, I wouldn't put anything past this bitch.
Right. I will not believe that she's pregnant until I hear it from Andy Cohen himself.
Oh my God, Andy.
He will get to the bottom of it for us.
Yes, but he did have Ariana on Watch What Happens Live after the finale. Apparently she's already dating someone new, which I'm just like, I'm obviously team Ariana, so I'm not, you know, bashing Ariana, but I'm like, it's been since March, April, May, 2 months.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you 3. It's almost June, 3 months.
Yeah.
And you already have a new man?
And she was dating Tom for 10 years?
Almost 10, yeah, 9 years. And I mean, I get it. Their relationship was probably over 5 years ago, but still, I don't know. Like, that's a lot to, but so way back in the day, like when him and Ariana first started dating, there was a girl who flew all the way from Miami to SUR to confront him about having an affair with her.
Wow.
And Ariana like defended him to the death. And she knew he actually had an affair with that woman.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And apparently he cheated on her one more time with someone that they all know, but not someone on the show.
Good God, dude.
But Ariana would not disclose who that woman was. So is there anyone out there who is even team Rachel/Raquel? Like, I find it hard to imagine that anyone is not team Ariana.
Well, Madison thinks she's annoying, so I don't know.
But it's like, you could say she's annoying, you say that she's stupid, whatever, but like, how can you be like, oh yeah, I think that like Tom and Raquel are doing the right thing?
Right. I think we can all agree that like maybe what he's saying is true, that like their relationship has been over for a long time. I mean, we saw them discussing like they don't have sex, they don't spend time together, they don't feel connected, like all of those things. So like, yeah, totally, I get it. You probably were unhappy. You both were probably unhappy.
Yeah.
But this is literally the worst way to have handled it.
Right. Yeah.
Like and even like her best friends were like, I don't care if you allegedly broke up with Ariana and she said no. That's when you as a grown-ass man call up her friends and are like, hey, look, like I tried to break up with Ariana. She's not allowing it, but I'm gonna leave because this is what's best for both of us and y'all need to come over and support her. Like, you don't just say, okay, well,
guess I'm gonna go start sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I'll go sleep with your best friend.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, too, like I really, especially with that coming out about the Miami girl and that there was another girl that she knew about that, like, you know, she just kind of let pass. I think if it was some random bitch, I think she would have let it go. I really do. I think she would have been upset, obviously, but I think she would have been like, we can work through this. But with it being Raquel, I think she was like,
you can't.
Yeah.
Without, I mean, you can't forgive that while also having your dignity.
Yeah.
Like,
but they're also alleging that it might be on the reunion that we find out about Raquel's pregnancy. So
interesting.
It's a 3-part reunion. So
3-part. Oh my gosh. I will say, like, all of this background that you're giving us, it's making me want to watch the reunion, even though I have never seen a second of Vanderpump Rules.
Honestly, I feel like with the context that you have, you would be 100% understanding every every complex issue on the show right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'm sad it's only 3 parts, honestly.
Oh,
I'm like,
You
I'm like, I
have to
need
wait till
more.
one?
No,
Or is
no,
it like 1 part a week?
it's 1 part a week. Yeah,
They're
so
gonna
they
drag
drag
that
it out.
thing
Yeah,
out.
exactly. They drag it out. They're like, 3 more weeks of episodes.
But then, like, of course, Ariana will get her own spin-off show about her trying to recover from this devastation.
Well, that's actually something that I'm really interested about because I highly doubt that Sandoval or Raquel are gonna be on the show again next season. So I'm like,
really?
how do y'all keep this interesting?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that anybody on the show is gonna want to film if they're on the show. I think that's what it would come down
Really?
to.
Like, because they're just so problematic?
Yeah, because they want nothing to do with them. Like they don't want to be
Wow.
associated with them. Like Ariana even told the other Tom, like, I can't be friends with someone who's friends with him. So like I can't be your friend anymore.
Wow.
And she was like a groomsman in his wedding.
That's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I have a feeling with time that might change. But yeah, I really don't think any of them would record the show if they were on it. So I don't know what that means for Vanderpump Rules. I don't know how you spice that up enough to, especially after this season. Like I'm just like, how do you keep momentum
Yes.
after something like this? How do you keep momentum?
Where it's just like crescendoing and like all of these people care so much about what's going on, and like people like me are suddenly like going to watch the reunion.
Yeah, exactly.
How
Yeah.
do you like keep that momentum going?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. And oh my gosh, when I was watching the finale, I also saw, I'm really not vibing with this, y'all. I'm gonna be really honest, but I'm trying to trust Andy and the Bravo team. But the ratings for Real Housewives of New York, which is like one of the OG franchises, is apparently like just it's gone down drastically. And I guess they thought that they needed to do a complete rebrand. So now they have Roni Legacy, which is going to be some of the OG cast members, and they're doing a whole new Roni cast.
Interesting.
Like a whole new cast of women that we have never met, never seen, have no idea who they are.
To drive up viewings?
I guess they're hoping that with all new women, maybe it'll make the show more interesting. But they also knew that, like, if they completely got rid of the entire original cast, that it might alienate some people who would still watch both.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, me, because like if they would have just scrapped it all together and they just did this new franchise, I would have been like, fuck y'all, I'm not watching that. Like, I'm not doing it. But it's like, okay, I still get to see Sonya be drunk and do stupid shit. Like, okay, I can be interested in seeing what you have to offer with this new show. But I knew that they were switching things up, but I thought they would just like bring in 2 or 3 new housewives. Like I didn't think they were going to scrap the whole thing altogether
and start from scratch.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see how it, because I don't even know. I don't think Miami. So Miami came back after 8 years, and I don't think they're getting renewed again.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do it again. And Real Housewives of Dallas just never came back.
Yeah. What they doing out there?
I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do with Salt Lake City, especially since Jen's in prison.
Yeah. I don't know. I like that cast though. They're very interesting people.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because there's that whole Mormon element that really entices Kristen, even though like 1 or 2 of them are Mormon.
Yes, that's correct. But they're like Mormon tangential.
Exactly.
So
it's still part of the plot, if you will.
So Kortnie, if they have a brand new New York cast and you could like start from scratch, would you watch Real Housewives of New York?
I'm taking that as a no.
Doubtful.
I knew the answer, but I don't know. I just want to hear you say it.
I mean, honestly, the only Real Housewives of anything I've ever watched has been at Cassie's house. When she was watching it in bed.
That's the extent of your experience.
I'm a cult creator.
For real.
And I don't even remember which one it was. I feel like
It's probably Atlanta.
I don't think so. I think one of the girls' name was Kyle.
Oh, Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Ooh, also so random. This is like completely, well, kind of unrelated because we just said Beverly Hills. New season of Selling Sunset on Netflix.
Yeah.
I've started it. I haven't finished it. I can't believe Nick Cannon's baby mom is on there.
That is a really successful show. Like more successful than I realized because this is what now, like the third or fourth season?
Oh, I think is it?
More?
Honestly, I was kind of thinking it might be 5, but I'm not sure. But I mean, they've had
But all the
spinoffs,
spin-offs and just
OC, Tampa. Now they got
Yeah.
competitors. They have Kyle's husband selling Beverly. No, it's not. It's like Beverly Hills. I don't know. Beverly Hills Selling, something like that.
but like the same premise.
Yes, and actually one of the girls that I think she left the Oppenheim group. I don't think she was fired. She's actually working at the agency now with the Umanskis.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting to see. Big
Cool.
competitors there.
Yeah.
The agency has been extremely successful. He has offices all over the world now.
Wow. Just from the Netflix show?
No, he's had this business, gosh, since almost like the beginning of the Real Housewives.
Oh wow.
I want to say he left the Hiltons and started his own thing, maybe like 2 or 3 seasons into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills,
Okay.
if that far, honestly. So
Interesting.
I think it'll be fun to see that lady and see what she has to say about leaving the Oppenheim group and all that. But
Yeah.
the only thing I'm concerned about with Selling Sunset is like they haven't shown Christine at all. I know she got fired, but I'm like, can y'all keep the show interesting without Christine? I hate Christine. I can't stand her. But she brought a lot of drama, you know? She brought a lot of intrigue to the show. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Kortnie, what have you been watching on TV recently?
Honestly, I don't watch much TV.
Really?
I watched the first episode of The Mindy Project with my grandma.
There you go.
We loved it. We were fans.
That's solid.
It is a good show. It's very cute.
And then I watched episode 2 while you guys were snoozing yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little snoozing bees.
We're hot 3 episodes into that show.
Ooh.
Going well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Big Mindy fans. Any movies recently that you've watched that you're like, oh my God, so good. You should watch it.
I haven't even been watching much movies, which is so sad because I love movies.
Right.
Oh,
Life just be too busy. All that wedding planning now just taken away.
So much television.
yeah, but our girl got a long commute.
Yeah.
She'd be working and commuting, working and commuting. Commuting and
That's
working.
Well, we
Busy bee.
just watched 80 for Brady and Cassie absolutely loved it.
I did. I cried.
Thought it was the best movie ever.
It was sweet.
It was cute. Yeah.
It was so sweet.
I did recently rewatch Good Will Hunting for maybe the
Nice.
13th time.
And how was it?
This is good.
How about the apples?
I don't think I've
Okay.
ever seen that movie.
What?
What is it?
That's the start of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's like Matt Damon is like a janitor at MIT, but he's actually a genius.
Yeah.
And like we'll just like do these like crazy equations.
He's
Up
like a
to board.
poor, like orphan kid from Southie. Like
Yeah.
And what does he do? Like
He's just
what's-
like a genius.
So the point of the movie is he's a janitor and he does equations.
Well, yeah, but it's like him like going to MIT and stuff.
Oh, so he
like-
starts at MIT, like that.
he doesn't actually go to MIT, but
Oh.
it starts out with like the math professor who's won a Fields Medal, which is like the Nobel Prize for mathematicians. He like puts this challenge up for his class at the beginning of the year, and he's like, I put this equation on the board, like some of you may be able to solve it at the end of the year and you'll go on to do great things, but like it's gonna take you
the whole year together.
Yeah.
And so literally like in one night Matt Damon solves it, and it's just like on the board, and then they're all trying to figure out like who's this mystery
man who solved it.
mathematician who's so great. And then like no one comes forward, like it's no one in the class, it's no one that goes to MIT and everything. And then he puts up a tougher problem on the board, and he's like, this took me and all the other math professors years to solve.
Oh God.
And then Matt Damon solves it, and like he's finishing it up, and the professor comes out and sees him, and he's like, you can't vandalize people's work, like what are you doing? He's like, oh F you, and he walks away, and then he like looks at it and he's like,
He solved the equation.
oh crap.
Yeah. It's a freaking janitor.
Yeah, and
God.
so it like takes off from there. But yeah, Matt Damon plays that guy. Ben Affleck is like one of his best
His
friends.
friends,
yeah.
Buffy. Robin Williams is a therapist.
Oh,
Yeah.
Minnie
he rest in
Driver's
peace.
the love interest.
Who?
Minnie Driver.
What else she in?
She's like, oh, she used to be really famous.
Oh.
But his name, Matt Damon's character's name is Will Hunting.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's why it's called the Will Hunting.
okay, that makes sense.
But it is a good one. That's Annie's favorite movie.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it on Netflix?
Amazon Prime.
Oh, do you have to pay for it to watch it?
Prime?
Well, I'm saying like I feel like every time you go on Prime to watch
Oh, no,
something.
it's included with Prime.
Oh, okay, cool. Because that's how I feel like Amazon Prime is the biggest scam on the fucking planet. Because it's like you pay for this subscription service and then you still have to pay to watch stuff on it.
Yeah.
I have Prime for shipping, not really for its
Content.
yeah. But I just
Which-
wanted to watch Good Will Hunting, and so
Yeah.
it happened to be on
I
Prime.
gotcha.
Which have y'all seen the trailers for the Duggars documentary that's gonna be on Amazon Prime?
No, please tell me
It's
more.
gonna be like a multi-part Duggars document. Well, it's about the Duggars and like the cult that they're in
Mm-hmm.
at large. It's called like Shiny Happy People or something, or like Shiny Happy Faces. Well, that's because that's their like cult whole thing is that women should be and men too should just be like quiet and respectful and always happy, but in like a bad way.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, women, even though like they have been abused, they just like have to smile through it and like put on a pretty face. So they're just like really hardcore Southern Baptist, but the cult that they're in is called the Institute of Basic Life Principles. And so that's the group that believes in like, you know, no holding hands until you're like no kissing until you're married, and like women basically like have no future. Like women aren't supposed to get jobs. Women just like have a zillion children. That's another thing too, is that like they believe that you are like you serve God by like having as many children as humanly possible.
What's the really crazy Baptist? Is it the Westwood?
The Westboro Baptist Church.
Westboro Baptist.
Yeah, they're not in Westboro Baptist Church, but I'm sure that they probably would go there.
Other than having a zillion kids, that doesn't sound half bad. Oh my God, I want to work. I'm like, we fought so hard for the ability to have a job, and I'm like, I don't want it.
But I think it's a lot more than just not having a job.
Yeah,
But I'm
being,
like, oh,
completely submissive. But Jill Duggar is actually on it with her husband, is on the documentary.
is she? And she's not one that is still affiliated with the church, or she is one that is.
No, she's basically like removed herself from the church. Like she's openly talked about how she like drinks alcohol now, she takes birth control, like she wears pants, but like a lot of them wear pants
Not
now.
pants.
Yeah.
Cass is probably also like, I don't need pants.
I'm like,
So
so she 5X t-shirt on, ready to go.
She's definitely like one of the most, at least publicly progressive out of the family. So she spoke with Amazon Prime for it. It comes out like June 2nd, I think.
So the documentary is more so focused on like the cult they're a part of rather than like them specifically.
I think, well, I mean, they are like the face of the cult, basically. So I think it focuses a lot on the Duggars, and like the Duggars are on the cover of the documentary. But I think it focuses on how like the Duggars really gave a lot of like publicity to this cult, because there were a few other like huge families that also got TV shows because of that.
Oh, interesting.
And like, have you ever heard of the Bates family?
No.
They have like 17 kids, but they had a TLC show that was called The United Bates of America. And it's the same thing. And it's like on the outset, we're like, oh my God, they just have so many freaking kids. But actually, like at their core, it's because they're like part of this cult.
And they must have as many people to continue on this thought process as possible.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think, they're going to talk about other families like that. But I think just because the Duggars are like the poster children for it, it mostly focuses on them. So I will be watching. And one of my favorite YouTubers who she doesn't post just about the Duggars, but she does a lot of what's called just like fundamental Christians. So that's just like crazy hardcore Christians. She's on it and I'm so excited. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be watching. And
Okay.
it's on Amazon Prime, so shout out to them for getting that because
Jeff Bezos knows a thing or two.
he doesn't. He wants me to be happy, and for that, I thank him.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what he was thinking. He's such a giver.
But actually, like having one of the Duggars on there is huge. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to hear what Jill has to say. Because one of the other daughters, Jill, recently came out, or excuse me, Ginger came out with a book recently,
Right.
but she's still kind of like halfway in. So she didn't go completely like scorched earth on her family, but she basically recognizes that like she had to do a lot of like deconstructing of what she was taught as a kid while still also like being a Christian and like
Mhm.
wanting to have a healthy relationship with God, but also being like, I was taught this like such crazy, weird, twisted like vision.
Mhm.
of
Did
God.
you read her book?
No, I haven't. I want to. See. I just know that book. I'm gonna think like, oh my god, like it's gonna be so juicy. I just know it's not, and so
Yeah.
I just like know that I'm gonna be disappointed. So I've just kind of put it off. But I'm definitely interested
Mhm.
at some point in reading it. But she also too. She has like a podcast and like
Oh, okay.
yeah, she's active on social media.
Maybe we need to hit her up.
We should.
What are we doing?
Hey, Ginge.
Hey, Ginger girl.
Come on, anytime. We should have hit her up when she was like first promoting the book.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
But that's okay. We'll get it on the next one.
Yeah, we got her. We got her covered.
So Kortnie, is there anything else that you want to talk about on your very own episode of the podcast?
My very own episode.
Yeah.
You're the star here.
What?
Burn bright,
I think I will be the star.
be a star.
Big
Y'all watch
Yeah.
Life Size?
Yes,
That
of
was one of the
course.
best movies ever. With Tyra Banks and Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, I saw that one. I didn't see they did like a remake.
Yeah,
a
they
year ago or
did.
something.
I think
didn't
they
see
made like a second one, right? It was like a
Yes.
sequel.
yeah.
I don't think I might have seen. I don't know.
With Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
In it.
Free Tyra.
Oh, thanks.
All right. So is there anything else that y'all want to talk about before we wrap for this week?
Not particularly.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Kortnie, for joining us today.
Yes, thank you,
Thank you
honey.
for all of your wedding insight. Very appreciated. For those who are thinking of entering holy matrimony at some point in their life. And thank you guys for listening. As always, we hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch up with you next week.
Bye.
Bye.